Watch how that works. That capital gains will kill you. It's like 20%. All right. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Quiet, we're starting. Thank you. I don't have a gavel, right?
Of the Borough of Pompton Lake, Mayor and Council, Municipal Corporation, and the County of Essex. The meeting will begin at 7:30 p.m. on April 23rd, 2025, in the Municipal Building, 25 London Avenue, Pompton Lake. Consistent with the Open Public Meetings Act, the meeting will be open for public comments until the in accordance with the terms and conditions of the borough's municipal code and bylaws.
Please stand for a flag salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bless this mayor and council as they deliberate on the best of Pompton Lakes. In conformance with the Open Public Meeting Law, Public Law 1975, Chapter 231, adequate notice of this meeting setting forth the time, date, place, and purpose of this regular meeting through notice posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, mailed to all, have requested and paid for same, and published in Suburban Trends. Roll call, please.
Mayor Sarah.
Here.
Council President Pompton.
Excused.
Councilman Cruz.
Here.
Councilman Hinton.
Here.
Councilwoman Kent.
Here.
Councilwoman Hiller.
Here.
Councilman Bennett.
Here.
With us this evening is our Borough Attorney David Rutenberg and our Borough Administrator Michael Krell.
Okay, thank you. Before we get to our Arbor Day essay contest, I just want to give an update. We had some larger events happen over the weekend. We had a pretty large fire at the Golden Palace, Chinese restaurant downtown, along with the nail salon. Golden Gardens, I'm sorry. I have to thank all the volunteers that come in. This is why our volunteer fire department is so important. They were called to action. They came in, they got the fire out pretty quickly, and there were no injuries involved. So, you know, when you think about a volunteer of any group, it's important that they show up, and our guys do. So I have to thank all the groups involved. And the second one that I'm going to talk about was we had a 12-year-old girl who kind of left home and was in the woods by herself overnight. It was a harrowing night that went past, and I have to thank the CERT, the police, fire, OEM, and the search and rescue teams from all surrounding towns came to help support us. There was probably 50 search and rescue people there searching for her over the night, and thank God she was found healthy, and she was found in the morning about 10 o'clock, and things went on. But again, without all those volunteers helping us do that, who knows what could have happened there. So whenever you see any of our volunteers, please give them a round of applause and thank them for everything they do. Okay, with that, I'd like to call up our Shade Tree Commissioners and our Arbor Essay Contest winners. Whoever wants to talk. We're up there so we can hear it, sure.
Should it stay that way?
You can turn it if you want it the other way, I don't care.
At least like that. It's all right.
Just to watch the wire on the microphone.
Microphone.
There you go.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I apologize for the length of this speech, but it's difficult to graciously thank a phenomenal group of volunteers without doing this. Thank you for joining us this evening. My name is Ann Tassinelli, and I am the chairperson of the Pompton Lake Shade Tree Commission. We are here tonight to commemorate Arbor Day. This is the PLSTC's 9th annual Arbor Day contest. The 5th graders have been asked to write a letter to their favorite tree. The commission then reads each of these essays and chooses one winner from each of the 2 5th grade classes. These winners will receive the opportunity to read their essay tonight and will then receive a special gift from the Shade Tree Commission and a certificate from both Shade Tree Commission and Town Council. So, with that said, I have some people to thank and bring notice to before we move on. First, I would like to thank our mayor and council for allowing the opportunity to hold this event here in the council chambers. Thank you. A special thank you also to Liz Bramsness, Kathy Trost, and Barbara Sashan for their support and hard work when residents come into the municipal building with their concerns. Also, thanks to our borough administrator, Michael, for his support and assistance. On to the public On to the Pumpton Lake Shade Tree Commission members. First, I would like to thank co-chair Pete Ortieri, who has taken on Ranuel Hinton's position. And Pete worked hand in hand with Ranuel, who is now serving our town in a higher position as councilman. Pete spends many hours throughout the town surveying trees and determining their safety or their need for pruning or removal. He has become the new shade tree steward. Stand up, Pete. Come on. He offers a world of knowledge about trees. Pete will be putting up our 17th year Tree City sign at the entrances into town. Pete is also our county liaison, our treasurer, and our liaison to JCP&L and Verizon. He is the first to be called on to investigate a complaint or a concern from a resident about a burrowed tree. Madeline Denty, our secretary, and an absolute asset to our commission as well. She has organized all of the tree plantings throughout the town, which keeps our streets tree-lined and looking fantastic. She's also organized this for 8 years now, the Arbor Day event, and does so with great pleasure and expertise. Madeline also organizes National Night Out to help keep Pumpton Lake Shade Tree Commission in the forefront of the residents and visitors to the event. Madeline also replies back to concerns and requests from the residents. Thank you, Madeline. Our Commissioner, Alexa Reed, who is not with us tonight, she had another engagement, has proven to be an amazing asset to our commission. Alexa is the liaison to the Flood Board and continues to attend webinars and in-person classes for education and the much-needed CEUs, which are necessary to keep our Tree City USA accreditation. She brings to us all of the knowledge she acquires from these classes. Andy Dixon, another asset. He also could not be here tonight. He's at his daughter's lacrosse game. He's our liaison to Open Space Commission. He regularly does field checks in response to applications received from the residents, along with keeping a tab on hazardous trees and prunings as he sees them. Andy is well-versed in tree species and tree care. Our newest addition to our commission is Kaylin O'Connor. Kaylin, also well-versed in tree identification, and she now has taken the position which Madeline Denty had done so well. Kaylin is mainly handling the task of our spring and fall planting list, contacting the nursery to order the trees. She does field checks as well. Kaylin also goes out to check on tree complaints, either along with or not with Pete, and reports back to the commission on her findings. Also, very knowledgeable in tree identification. We have a great group of very well-educated folks. Is that a good word? I'd also like to thank our Councilwoman Maria Kent, who was a past member of Shade Tree Commission and had been a part of many accomplishments. She is now offering her expertise and support to us as liaison to the council. Support to us as liaison to the council, administrator, and attorney. This is her second year. Maria brings critical shade tree concerns and opinions to council on our behalf. She provides mayor and council with updates and information on enhancing and maintaining our community forest programs. Thank you, Maria. Dan O'Rourke, our DPW superintendent, and Tim Duffy, our assistant superintendent, I got that right, yeah? Help out in any way they can. And when we ask something of one or both of them, they're always there to help out. So as you see from this long reading, Pompton Lake Shade Tree Commission is an extremely complex volunteer commission and requires many of us in order to remain on task in keeping our town full of beautiful and healthy trees. This year, we received our 17th year award for following and performing all of the criteria to be considered for Shade Tree USA. Our plaque is displayed in the hallway of the municipal building. That ends my long-winded speech. I apologize for that, but I thank you for joining us, and let us move on to the 5th grade essays. Now, I see only one 5th grader here, or am I missing someone? And you are?
Juliana.
You're Juliana, okay. Did you bring your essay? Okay, because I took a copy just in case. All right, well, I think we can call her up. So you can come on up. Okay.
So I want to start off to thank the mayor and the council people and Mr. Gio. I'm going to start now. Dear Tree, I want to thank you so much for all that you do for us. You are the best thing that we can ask for. You provide us with shade from the sun and protect us from the rain. What would we do if you were not here to give us the pretty sight of watching your leaves change all colors? You give us paper, wood, and homes for some animals, and more food like fruits, nuts, and seeds. You come in all sizes. You could be short or tall, skinny or fat. We have a day to celebrate you and your inconsistency, which is called Arbor Day. Arbor Day is a day to celebrate you and to encourage people to plant trees. Did you know that trees were not celebrated until 13 years ago? Did you also know that the United States has 865 different types of trees, but there are 73,000 different types of trees worldwide? You are amazing to look at. In the fall, your leaves change all different types of colors before all your leaves fall off. In the spring, you start making buds for new leaves to grow, and in the summer, your leaves grow big and green. You draw your energy from the sun, and your nutrients comes from your soil. Your big leaves protect a ton of shade from the hot sun during the summer, which I thank you for. You are also very important because you provide us with oxygen we breathe by taking in carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. You are very important to me, and I feel connected with you because I see you are so big, and when I climb on you, it shows how big the world is. Your safety and peace of mind are my priorities.
Come on. Great job. Okay, it's not easy to get up there and speak. I don't even like doing it. You did a great job. So. Okay, so is that
Congratulations.
Yeah, okay. We also have a certificate from the Mayor and Council for your great job and your great speech. So keep it up. Good work.
I think I can take a picture of her alone and then we'll.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah, we're not yet. Maria, you should.
Yeah, Maria, come on down.
Oh, okay, thank you.
I'm gonna take another picture of your face. Okay.
Hey, wait for me. Actually, I do. No, you're okay, you're okay. Go ahead.
Got it? good.
Oh, yeah.
You break it, you buy it.
Oh, no, I'm not doing that. I'm gonna just take a moment and read the other winners.
I'm gonna read the other winner's letter. I can say her name. Zoe Rivera, she's in Miss Martini's class in Lenox Elementary School. She says, "Dear Backyard Cherry Blossom, thank you for being the tree I always read under and climb up. Your shade during the summer is delightful, and I always take photographs of your stunning pink leaves. My brother and I always climb up your trunk, and we love to sit up in your branches. Sometimes when I'm alone, I read under your shade with your leaves falling around me and the sound of birds chirping. It's very peaceful, unless my brother comes outside." You've watched my brother and I swing on our swing set, run around playing tag, swim in our pool, and just sit in the grass or in your shade. All the memories we have had together are priceless, and I have enjoyed every second. Again, your leaves are stunning, and you are my absolute favorite tree. Thank you for all of the great memories. Others should be grateful for trees because they are beneficial to the environment. They should be grateful for trees for several more reasons. One of those reasons is that the trees absorb carbon monoxide and release oxygen, improving air quality. Another reason trees are important to the environment is because they prevent soil erosion. The roots of the trees help reduce the chance of floods and anchor the soil. A final reason why trees are important is because they provide habitats for several animals and plants, contributing to the biodiversity and helping ecosystems. Your friends, Zoe Rivera.
And I just want to add that the Shade Tree Commission has always done an outstanding job in this town for the last 15 years. And I know Mr. Hinton was Councilman Hinton was a big part of that for many years, but you've gone on strong since losing one of your members. You're just another one of the examples of the groups we have in town who go well above and beyond for something they love. So thank you all for doing what you do.
Thank you, Madam.
Okay, let's move on. You want to give her the?
Yeah, we're gonna bring it to
Sure.
Lenox School.
You guys can stay the whole meeting, or if now's the time to get out. Okay. Public hearing on our 2025 municipal budget. Congratulations. See you guys.
Thank you.
We have our CFO here who's going to give us an opening statement.
Well, I would just like to say, thank you to everybody to move up the process, move as fast as it possibly could, at least for a municipal budget. This is kind of my first budget, so don't kill me right away. That's what I'm hoping for. And just looking forward to the rest of the year, really.
And we thank you for stepping in and taking on. This is, for people who don't understand, CFO is a pretty important job in town, and they handle all the numbers of everything behind the scenes with our administrator. And it takes a lot of time and energy to put it all together at the end of the year for our budget. So it's an important part of what we do, but it's a quiet part that most people don't see and hear about. So thank you for the time and effort. Liz, whenever you're ready, you want to read that?
2516, Section G, resolved by the Borough Council of Borough of Pompton Lakes of the County of Passaic that the budget herein before set forth is hereby adopted and should constitute an appropriation for the purpose stated of the sums therein set forth as appropriations and authorization of the amount of $11,598,482 for municipal purposes and $117,958 for open space, recreation, farmland, historic preservation trust fund levy, $640,822 minimum library tax.
Okay, I should mention that the open space and the library tax is a state tax set by the state. So that's a mandatory tax, and the open space is a number that we put aside for open space every year that comes out of our budget. The rest is our working budget. Motion to open the meeting for public comments on ordinance 2025 municipal budget.
Motion.
Councilman Hinton.
Second?
Councilwoman Kent. All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Anyone like to address just this ordinance? Yes?
Good evening, George Popov, 1104 Colfax Avenue. I'm just here this evening to keep at the forefront the progress on repairing.
So this is just about this last ordinance we read. I'm going to open up for public comment in a minute.
I'm sorry, what was it?
Just about the budget we're talking about.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, I'll call you right back up in a minute. Okay, motion to close the meeting for public comments on ordinance 2025.
Motion.
Councilman Hinton, Councilman Bennett, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Motion to adopt 2025 municipal budget for second reading and final adoption.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilwoman Kilberg, roll call, please.
I'm sorry, Ms. Bennett and Kilburg.
And
Yes.
Kilberg, yes.
Councilman Hinton.
Oh.
Yes.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kent.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
Councilman Bennett.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Now, motion to open the meeting for public comments.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett?
Second.
Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Now, anybody who'd like to step up.
Start from the beginning.
Sure.
Good evening, my name is George Popov, 1104 Colfax Avenue. I'm here today to request the ongoing progress, I hope, in correcting and fixing the storm drain pipe at 1102 Colfax Avenue and the damage that's done. Just don't want that to fall by the wayside, and I know you guys are all busy, but it's still very important because it's doing a lot of very critical damage. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Yes, Bob.
Ann Tassinelli, 5 Lambert Street, short and sweet. I'm just following up on the request to have observance from a police officer or more than one on Wanacue Avenue for the speeding, everything. Buses, trucks, cars. Okay?
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the public?
Gardner Summit, 147 Summit Avenue, Pompton Lakes, New Jersey. So last time I was here, I asked about parking overnight on the street by commercial vehicles. Last week, I drove around about 6:30 or so on a weekday night, and I counted at least 15 commercial vehicles parked on the streets of Pompton Lakes. The most egregious one, the one I see all the time, is at 525 Lincoln Avenue. It's the BZ Brothers garage door company. And they are always parked on Lincoln Avenue overnight and on the weekends. If somebody had a billboard, the way this truck is painted, like a billboard, sitting in front of your house or on a residential street, people would go nuts. But still, we have this car and others parked on the street as billboards, clogging up the streets, and I don't know if anything's been done. Has there been any, since, in the last 2 weeks, has anybody gone out at night from the police department and seen the commercial vehicles parked on the streets and given any tickets? All right, and the other thing I'd like to bring up is that I sit through a bunch of these meetings, and the worst thing I can see here is that the interminable reporting of activities of each of the council members attending the same event. Can you somehow figure out how to just have one person report on an event to keep the meetings a little shorter and so people don't lose their attention? Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Who was that? Councilman Cruz? Councilman Hinton? Councilman Bennett? All in favor?
Aye.
Against? Mr. Popov, I know we're working on it. We have not forgotten about it. I have almost weekly discussions with our administrator about it, but I'll let Michael jump in if you have anything you want to say.
Thank you, Mayor. We have a site visit scheduled with our borough engineer for tomorrow morning. The resident has been notified. We're developing final cost estimates, and then negotiations will ensue, and we're hoping we can, finally begin the construction and repair of the property. So we'll keep everyone updated.
And I've got to say, in Mr. Popov's defense, this has been an ongoing thing for many years, but I will say this administration is making the most movement we've ever made on this. So you got to give them a little slack, give them a little room to work. We're going to get this done, we're going to get it fixed, and hopefully everybody's happy with it.
I'll be with them tomorrow.
Okay. Ms. Tasnelli, yes, we spoke to the police department about U-turns and traffic on the street. Again, I don't speak for the police department on how they police the matters, but they were made aware by myself, by, I think, Councilwoman Kilberg, and by our administrator. All three of us contacted them to let them know. And I agree with you, I've seen U-turns in the middle of the street. I mean, now granted, they have to see that happen, they have to be there when it happens. But if they're driving down the street and they see something, they should at least pull them over to warn them, resident or not, and say you're doing something wrong. So they were made aware of it. Mr. Senate, 525 Lincoln Avenue, we will look into that. Is it a commercial vehicle? I don't know. I can't speak for the vehicle itself. And again, I can't speak for what the police department does and how they ticket. But at the end of the day, again, myself, the administrator, and Councilwoman Kilberg have spoken to the chief and assistant and captain about what you mentioned about parking on the street. So that was brought up to their attention. We can bring it up again, but we do not run the police department. Let's get that in everybody's mind. They're their own department. They run their own department on how they do things. It's actually against the law for us to tell them to write more tickets or to go after someone. We can't do those things, but we will remind them again. I am not going to stop any council person from giving a report on what they feel is important to them. If everybody here attended the same event, taking another minute to say that doesn't really affect anyone, and in the grand scheme of a big meeting, another 5 minutes is not making a difference. If these council people up here put the time and energy to go to these events, they deserve to talk about them. So that's what I have to say about that. Okay. Bills and claims. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Motion to approve the following minutes. Regular meeting minutes, April 9th, 2025. Closed session minutes, April 9th, 2025. Can I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Councilman Venin, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Authorizing of bills and wires in the amount of $408,054 and change. Motion to approve the following bill list as listed below.
Motion.
Councilman
Second.
Venin, Councilwoman Kilburg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Consent agenda. Does anybody need anything explained or removed?
Yes, I would like 25-172 moved, or removed.
Anybody else? Okay, Liz.
Whereas the mayor and borough council of the borough of Pompton Lakes has reviewed the consent agenda consisting of our proposed resolutions, whereas the mayor and council of the borough of Pompton Lakes does desire to remove resolutions for individual action from that agenda, now therefore be it resolved that the following resolutions on the consent agenda are hereby approved. Resolution 25-164 through 25-175 with the removal of 25-174.
Can I have a motion?
Motion? Second.
Councilwoman, who's that, Kent? Councilwoman Kilburg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? 25-172.
Resolution observing Building Safety Month 2025.
Question, or just one explanation?
No, I understand that it's observing Building Safety Month, and I understand exactly what the resolution is. It's that I had brought up previously, in all due respect to our building inspector, I had asked for a railing down the middle of those stairs in front of the municipal building. And being we're talking about building safety, it's an issue that I would still push. All due respect to our building inspector, but I still feel, talking to a lot of residents, I've witnessed almost fall down those stairs. I think for safety purposes, I had talked to our administrator about it. It's not set right now for our budget this year, but I just wanted to bring that out, that if we can take care of that, it's not a big expense, and it's a safety on those front steps in front of our municipal building.
Okay, and I agree. I mean, the building, I did speak to Sal about it, and he did recommend that we didn't need it by code, but if we feel it's a safety issue, that's something we can say.
And I feel it's a safety issue.
So that's something we could talk about when we have budgetary time to put it in. But, let's vote on 25-172. A resolution? Okay, please.
You want a roll call?
Yeah, roll call, please.
Well, who's gonna make the motion?
I'll make a motion. Oh, Councilman
I'll
Bennett?
second.
Councilwoman Kilberg? Roll call, please.
Councilman Hinton.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kennis.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
Councilman Lennon.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes. Okay, ordinances, whenever you're ready.
Ordinance 2517, second reading and final adoption, May 14th. Bond ordinance appropriating $933,500, authorizing the issuance of $886,825 bonds and notes of the borough for various improvements or purposes authorized to be undertaken by the borough of Pompton Lakes in the county of Passaic.
Motion to approve ordinance 25-17 for introduction.
So moved.
Second. Councilwoman Kilberg, Councilman Cruz, roll call, please.
Can I have a question on that?
Sure.
I just had a question on, it says in 2024, improvements to Paquonic, Ramapo, and Wanacue rivers. 2026, same thing in 2027 and 2028. What kind of improvements to the rivers?
I think that's our river cleanup, is that what that is?
Yes, thank you,
That's just our
Councilman.
cleanup?
That, what you're referring to is just a 6-year forecast for the capital plan, and that's required. It's not anything that's set in stone. Usually we look at a forecast of 5 to 6 years out, and then we kind of make recommendations each year, and that's what kind of formalizes our capital plan.
It was,
But we've always had ongoing funding to support our river work.
okay, so that's,
Right.
it was just the wording, improvements to the Paquonic.
Yeah, river clearing, stream cleaning, tree
Okay.
removals.
Also, there was, garbage truck replacement, and then it said automated garbage truck. What is the difference in that?
So each year, each department submits a forecast for their capital plan. So in this case, the superintendent of public works has forecasted that we will need to replace a garbage truck 1 year, and then he is looking into what's called the automated arm system, although we don't really know that it's cost efficient for us, and whether or not it would provide an increased level of service to the residents. But that's something we're looking at, and stuff we look at, we put in our capital plan just to keep it
Okay.
on track.
So each department has kind of a wish list, kind of.
Right, I understand that. It was just the writing of
Yeah, I understand.
automated garbage truck that, and he
Okay.
just answered my question, so thank you.
Okay, roll call, please. Did we have motions? Did we have motions?
Yeah.
Yes, roll call, please.
second.
Councilman Hinton.
Hinton, yes.
Councilwoman Kennis.
Yes.
Councilwoman Kilburg.
Yes.
Councilman Lennon.
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Ordinance 2518, an ordinance amending Chapter 10 Animal Control of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of Pompton.
Motion to approve ordinance 25-18 for introduction.
So moved.
Councilman Bennett,
Second.
Councilwoman Kent. You want to give a little explanation, or you want to do it next time?
No, thank you, Mayor. So this ordinance is to amend Chapter 10 of the Animal Control Code in our Borough Code. Specifically, last year, the governing body had amended the code to clarify that the dog and cat licenses expire on March 14th every year. And that was due to some internal clerical procedures, trying to increase services to residents, making sure we get licenses back in a timely manner. But we've came to realize since, in speaking with our animal control officer and our health officer, that the license has to expire on the 31st of December. And so we're reverting back to what we had prior, and that's due to state statute.
Everybody good with that?
But not entirely, right? Because they're not subject to a penalty until later, so this still reduces the logjam here at the municipal building.
Correct. It further clarifies that the late fee rather is March 15th, not the expiration of the license.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay. Sure.
10-2.3, number 5, just an explanation on potentially dangerous dogs, as hereafter defined, $500. How do you determine What dog is potentially dangerous?
Thank you. I believe this actually came up last time when we were talking about.
I might have asked this question at the podium.
Yes.
Yes.
In that, the animal control officer, at his or her discretion, can deem a dog potentially dangerous and therefore charge an increased fee. And the criteria for that really is up to the officer. But, you're talking about a bite that led to a severe injury or death to another dog, things like that. We don't have.
And it would come from her herself, nobody else but her.
So this is a previous incident which would deem this dog potentially dangerous?
Correct, and we don't have any of those cases right now.
Thank you.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilman Finn,
Yes.
Councilwoman Kim,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hilbert,
Yes.
Councilman Brennan,
Yes.
Councilman Cruz.
Yes.
Okay, I just saw the mayor of Oakland walk in, but he walked out. I think if you don't mind, guys, because he was here to discuss something, that we're going to jump to workshop and then we'll come back to our reports. If that's okay with everybody?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we're going to talk about, and the personnel group met, the finance met, about waste collection and a shared service. And I'm going to let Michael jump into that. If you want to
Thank you,
start.
Mayor. Yes, so as part of our annual budget process, with all the state increases and increases in fees and salaries and what have you, we're really trying to look for ways to bring in revenue to the borough. So the DPW superintendent and I have gotten together over the past few months to talk about ways to increase revenue, and one of the ways that we were talking about was to provide other services to other communities. And we've since realized that we're kind of an exception in that we pick up our own solid waste. Many communities in North Jersey contract out and go out to bid for those services, and some communities have faced, 150% increase over the past 10 years. So we've kind of been shopping around. Initially, we had looked at the borough of Riverdale to see if they would be interested in some sort of shared service agreement. The economics did not work for Riverdale. They have too low of costs, and we have too high of costs to implement the service for them. So we've been looking around for other partners, and we came across the borough of Oakland in Bergen County, who coincidentally, their contract for solid waste, recycling, and vegetative waste collection services is up at the end of this year. So we kind of commenced negotiations with Oakland logistically to see if we can make it work with them. We've had several meetings. I provided a financial analysis in your packets for tonight. So just going through it a little bit, in order for us to provide the service to Oakland, we would need to hire 9 new additional staff members to be borough employees to facilitate that service to them.
They would be Pompton employees.
Right, they would be borough Pompton Lakes employees. The net cost to that would be almost $400,000.
That's total cost.
To bring on the additional employees. There would also be fuel and maintenance costs, there's fringe benefits, there's pension costs. So all in all, we looked at the financials, we looked at what Oakland was paying for solid waste collection, and just to get into it, this year, Oakland is paying $1.7 million for solid waste. If you kind of look at a 2% increase with bidding, they could probably go up to $1.9 million in costs, although as the industry has seen, you're receiving bids 50% higher than your prior bid. So really, Oakland has a significant issue with cost if they were to go out to bid again. So we kind of looked at their cost, we looked at what it would cost us, and we came to the number that, it would cost us roughly $1 million to provide the service to Oakland. So within the financial analysis, you'll see that, for Oakland, in a year one scenario, if we were to enter into a shared service, they would be saving almost $800,000 on their budget. As part of this agreement, we're able to charge an admin fee. So we would see an admin fee of $133,000. That'd be net revenue to the borough, and that increases to $180,000 in year 5 of the proposed agreement. So over the course of the agreement, we would be making just short of $1 million net revenue. We'd also get 9 new employees paid for in full by the fee. And it's important to note that these employees, once they're done collecting garbage, usually it's around noon, 1 o'clock on a late day, there are employees for the rest of the day. So we're looking to designate them to a roads division or put them in the parks or cleaning up our downtown. Additional activities that we cannot sustain right now with our level of staff. Also talking with Oakland, we kind of went through schedules. We don't want to lose service for our residents. That's our number one priority. And really, this would be a separate crew that would go to Oakland. We wouldn't be losing crew members that would be going to Oakland for the service. It would be extra people. And then, additionally, we talked to Oakland. They would be losing collection days with going with us. So they're compromising to come to us to save the type of money that they're looking to save. For instance, there's certain holidays that our employees have that their staff does not have. So they would actually lose collection days because we have more holidays than them. They're willing to accommodate that. We had talked about maybe the use of our recycling center for Oakland residents. It may seem, a little bit much, but we don't really foresee that type of amount of people using the center. And we can certainly monitor that on a case-by-case basis. But that kind of was discussed as well. And we are recommending that we include that in the agreement. And like I said, all in all, it would be, just to go back, we would need to purchase 2 additional garbage trucks to implement the service. Those costs would be paid for in full by the fee of the service. And also, Oakland has 33 dumpsters that their current hauler collects from their schools, from their parks, from their municipal facilities. We would have to purchase 33 dumpsters. We would own the dumpsters, and that cost is also built into the financial agreement.
So let me just add that, I think you forgot to mention that our DPW supervisor was the one behind this plan to begin with. He really supports this plan. He thinks it's a good idea for both towns. He thinks his manpower can do it. He thinks the extra manpower for us is a benefit. The extra trucks for us will be a benefit. And, our long-term goal is to get a new DPW garage down there, right? So we can use some of this money that we offset from that we're collecting, put it aside to put towards the new DPW garage, because we all know we're going to need a new DPW garage at some point. Okay? So I just want everybody to understand that, and I know the mayor's here, and he'll get up and support this too. Both sides are pretty much in agreement that this is a good plan for them. And when my DPW supervisor says we can do this, I gotta believe that sometimes. But go ahead, please finish.
Thank you. I think our DPW staff are excited about this opportunity. And like I said, you're looking at just short of $1 million revenue, 9 new additional employees, all costs paid for by the shared service fee. And logistically, we believe that it would work. And I would just like to note, Oakland had looked at this with other communities. They actually had gotten a grant from the state of New Jersey to see if there was any shared service opportunities with any other municipalities. And they had conducted a study with Franklin Lakes and Wyckoff. And it's really difficult to make this work. This is a very complex and complicated agreement. It's an exception that it works. And we're very lucky that everything seems to sync up for this. And we would recommend the adoption of this, and we would recommend a shared service agreement for adoption at the next meeting. We're here for any questions or concerns.
Before we get there, I just want to add one more thing. I don't know, I'm sure everybody's aware, especially in Bergen County, a lot of them gave up their independent garbage and went to private haulers, which for the first 2 years was great. They were making good money on it, but then they kind of got rid of all their equipment. They start getting rid of guys through attrition, and before you know it, they're stuck with not enough equipment and manpower to do the work, and the haulers know that, and they start increasing the prices. So $1 million you were paying for the first 3 years becomes $3 million 3 years later. And either you're paying that, or you're trying to go back to where you were, which is very difficult. So I think that's where kind of Oakland is now. We're one of the few, I won't say one of the few towns. We got a great DPW. They pick up our garbage. They do a great job. So that's where he is. We'll take questions, if there's concerns, questions, bring them up now. Is a good time.
Are they 9 full-time employees?
All full-time, yes.
There would be 9 full-time employees.
Okay, and would we have to go out to bond for the trucks and for the initial trucks and dumpsters?
Yes, we would.
Okay.
We're looking at leasing versus purchasing outright,
Okay.
but those costs would be recouped as part of the fee over time.
Okay.
But year one, you're looking at a net revenue of 130 for this agreement.
What's the contract length?
It's proposed for 5 years.
5 years.
They're looking for a sustainable partner.
But I thought you said we would own the containers, not lease them.
That's the choice.
We had looked at it would be cost efficient to lease them, but it's trending towards purchasing at this point, and that's what's included in your financial analysis for tonight. So we are looking, I would say, in all likelihood, we will be purchasing outright.
And for anybody that's been through a flood here in Pompton, Maria can speak to this.
Oh, sure.
When we have floods, we have to go rent out all these containers to pick up all the debris from the streets, and there's a big cost in renting those containers. Now that we have our own containers, that would be something, unfortunately, if another flood was to happen, that we could use these containers for. And finding those containers during a flood event is sometimes difficult, because every town's looking for these containers. So, unfortunately, I've been through a couple floods. Basically, we have bulldozers coming in and taking all the stuff and dropping them in containers, and then we're taking them to the dump. And if we don't have containers, we can't do that. So
Do we have storage facilities for these containers?
We have talked about logistically if we can, well, containers, the dumpsters would be housed at the facilities in Oakland and would stay there, right?
Oh, okay.
So we don't have to store any dumpsters, but we would have to store the 2 garbage trucks and the additional staff vehicles, equipment, and what have you, but our superintendent believes he can make it work.
Through the years that I've been observing since I've been retired and working with the DPW, a lot of DPW workers come and then they go because the salaries aren't as high as competing towns in the area. Is there any way that we could be increasing DPW worker salaries?
Well, I would
with this
say,
extra money that we're coming in?
I think that's the long-term goal. During the last labor negotiations period, they all got a pretty nice increase, and were made to be competitive with other towns at least. But this would aid us in that effort.
And that would go through contract negotiations. Don't give our secrets away before contract negotiations.
Oh, I would never want to give secrets away from that. But also, we're having issues with healthcare costs and percentage of healthcare that comes out of the salaries of the workers.
Absolutely, and that's why we're looking at bringing in extra revenue to the borough, and we believe this is
Oakland
one
will
way
be
to
picking up
do
those
it.
costs on the healthcare.
Oakland will be picking up the costs of our healthcare
Not our healthcare.
for those 9 individuals?
Yes, and that's delineated in the spreadsheet that you have.
Healthcare and retirement.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? I'm going to invite Eric, if you want to come up and say a couple words.
Good evening, everybody. Eric Mull, Mayor of Oakland, Mayor Council. This is really a wonderful opportunity to really demonstrate shared services, which is pretty hard to find in the state of New Jersey. As Michael had just spoken about, we had looked at partnering with our flow community, Franklin Lakes, Oakland, and Wyckoff. And quite frankly, the garbage collection business is, well, how should we say, organized in a very peculiar way. We have sent letters to the General's office. It's clearly a problem statewide. It doesn't seem to be something that the state wants to really address. But clearly the work that Mike, our borough administrator, your administration, this is really demonstrates a wonderful opportunity. We did have this under our work session yesterday. This is very well received by our governing body. And we certainly look forward to working with you and encourage you to really try and make this thing happen, because it really is a win-win across the board. And our borough administrator gave us the same presentation that Michael currently gave to you. And you got very lucky stealing Michael from us. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any questions for the mayor? We got it. Anybody? No? Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So I will, just to follow up on what he said too, this was a workable agreement. We also had the connections in that Michael came from Oakland, so he was able to work with them, and that worked out well for us in making this deal work. A lot of the credit goes to Michael in putting this together with our DPW supervisor to make this happen. This is a kind of a once-in-a-lifetime situation, because everything's aligning at the same time. If it was a different time and their contract wasn't up for 3 years, and then our union contract was up in 2 years, it becomes very difficult to kind of put that all together. So that's why we're in an area. I don't think you mentioned when it's going to start. Did you mention?
Right, so this agreement would be for January 1st next year. We're looking to execute a shared service agreement on May 14th, the May 14th council meeting. And then logistically, we have some procurement to do that you'll see over the summer. We have to solicit for the employees, some budgetary impacts for this year, but all in all, you know, we're looking to have route familiarization training in December for our staff, and then implement it January 1st.
And talking to Dan, for our concern, these extra employees, we will make now full-fledged landscape crews, downtown cleaning crews that are responsible for doing these things. So it's not like if I can get to it and there's time after garbage. We'll actually have crews now with the extra manpower to do this on a weekly or monthly cycle.
I just have and I think we answered it at the personnel, but I want to just double check. They will not be doing snow removal?
No, this is only for garbage collection, and actually you bring up a good point that we didn't cover, in that if it's snowing, you know, normally Oakland's hauler will let them know if it's too of the inclement weather, and usually they cancel and they push to the next day. One of the accommodations that Oakland's making for us is that usually we go to the next regularly scheduled collection day, they're the next day, and they're willing to accommodate us and move it to their next regularly scheduled day. So, you know, it would be up to our discretion, working with their DPW, to call it off or see how the inclement weather's going, but no plowing as part of this.
Okay.
And the other thing we should mention, we mentioned the recycling center. I don't see a lot of residents from Oakland, especially the south side of Oakland, coming all the way down here to use it, but there might be some residents that are going to use it. But don't forget, we make money on most of the things we collect in the recycling center, so it would increase our bulkage at the recycling center if we were to do that. And if we needed to bring in another employee, because there was just so much, you know, there are hourly, part-time salaries there, it wouldn't be a big deal. But we don't expect huge numbers of people to come out to do that.
Would we also be doing fall leaf pickup for Oakland? Like we do in Pompton?
That's correct. Oakland kind of has the same schedule as us, fall and spring cleanup collections. The only difference is they have grass collection. I don't believe the borough here has grass.
No.
I fought for grass collection for 20 years. I want it back.
So we'll be collecting their grass as well.
Well, then I'm sending
We won't be collecting ours.
Correct.
Wait, say that again.
Can they pick up grass here?
Wait, this is a big deal to my husband.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, we're not going to have.
No. Oakland has grass collection. We do not. But obviously, that's something in the future we could talk about.
We should talk about that.
But,
oh, boy.
Okay, what we're looking for is just a discussion. We're not looking for a vote here. But if anybody has an outstanding concern, now's the time to say that. Or if not, Michael's going to move forward with the agreement. Okay? All right, good. Thank you.
You good with this?
Thanks, Eric. Good job.
Yeah, I'm able to track the agreement. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
There's a lot to be done yet.
Okay.
Okay. Back to our regularly
Yeah,
scheduled
it's a
meeting.
good thing. It's a win.
I think so.
Okay, under my report, like I mentioned before, I have to thank the fire department, first aid, police, CERT, OEM, all groups that come out when we need them, and boy, did we need them in this last 2 weeks. They were really needed, and they did a great job. When there's no injuries and a pretty strong fire burning, that's a big plus. That tells them they're doing the right thing. You know, when we're looking for a lost child, and it's very serious, that we're concerned, and let me tell you, they found this child pretty far up in the woods, up by Walmart, so it wasn't like they were around the corner. They did a great job. The search and rescue that came in to help with that are all volunteers. They came from far away as West Milford and every surrounding town around us, and they were there all night looking for him. So I thank everyone for what they did. I thought both exercises were done very well, and there was no really any big concerns with it. Thank God everything came out well. I'm hoping, of course, both establishments stay in town. The buildings don't look like that this time. They need to be torn down, but I can't be 100%. But I'm hoping they're all going to come back into the establishments at some point. Okay, I had like I said, we had some finance meetings. We had some personnel meetings. I attended the planning board, the zoning board. I did not attend. This is the first time I missed the Easter egg hunt in 18 years, but I understand it was a well-run event, and others will talk about it. Did a couple of weddings. What is this? I can't even read my own writing. Administration. Okay, yes, we had a meeting today with our attorneys about our fair share. Remember, there's a new fair share is out, and we've got to come up with a new plan. I think it was a good meeting. I think we are closer than we believed we were before the meeting. And I think if everything works out right, we could maybe try to get a signed agreement, which is a big deal to make that happen. You know, it's very complicated for anybody in the audience. Fair share is something the state mandates for obligations of low-income housing. When I say low-income, it's not low-income like very cheap. It's if rent is $2,000, they want it $1,700. But every house or apartment that's built has to have a COA obligation, and then we have to find space within our town to do some building. We've identified some places. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it has to be identified, so I thank everybody for that. That's my report. Councilman Hinton, you have a bunch of motions. You can do them whenever you want.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Motion to approve request for the Veterans of Foreign Wars of the U.S., John Hand Tri-County Post number 2906, to conduct the annual Memorial Day Parade, sponsored by the John Hand Tri-County Veterans of Foreign Wars Post 2906 and the Borough of Pompton Lakes on Sunday, May 25th, 2025. Parade to assemble at 10:45 a.m. at the intersections of Lakeside and Jefferson Avenues, and the VFW Memorial Services to be held at 11:30 a.m. at the Veterans Memorial Park, Jefferson and Lakeside Avenues. Parade will then commence its route following the services and ending at the VFW Post 2906 located at 260 Wanacue Ave, where refreshments will be served. The police department will temporarily close the route. Portions of this route include county roads. Notify police, fire, first aid.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Lennon, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
Motion to approve the request of Pompton Lakes Recreation to close Lakeside Avenue from Romaine to Elks and Perrin Avenue on Sunday, August 31st, 2025. Rain date, Monday, September 1st, from 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. for Pompton Day. County Police, Fire, and First Aid to be notified.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Aye. Motion to waive permit fees for those vendors who hold a borough food license and wish to participate in Pompton Day.
Can I have a second?
Second?
Councilwoman Kent, all in favor?
Aye.
Against?
Motion to approve the request of Brian Foote and surrounding neighbors to host a block party on Sunset Road on Saturday, June 14th, 2025, from 12 p.m. until 8 p.m. Rain date, Sunday, June 15th, 2025. Police, fire, first aid to be notified.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Councilwoman Kilberg, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay.
In my report, Mr. Mayor, I attended the open space meeting and asked them once again whether they'd be interested in coming to the new Civic Center or staying in Riverdale. And they reiterated they'd like to stay in Riverdale.
You said the open space.
Open space.
Up? I apologize, yes.
You must be a senior.
I'm a senior, yes I am. Yes I am, Mr. Mayor. We had a discussion with, about the motor vehicle van coming for the licenses, and hopefully that will work, but as of right now, it
They're
isn't
backed up.
working.
They are backed up, I can tell you
Right.
that.
I attended the open space meeting. In the audience, they seemed to be disappointed, Karen Murphy, about the not being able to attend the video meeting. So they were a little disappointed on the improvements. So I think Maria will have something to add to that. Bid Bucks is coming May 10th. We'd like to always enjoy. Attended the Elks Fish and Chips. Very good. Fish was excellent. I had the MUA meeting. They were talking about PFAS, which is a contaminant for the water, and we're testing for it, and they're working on the treatment for it. But our levels are only slightly above the federal EPA standards.
That's good news.
So we're not really that bad at all, so that was good news. Also, the MUA is going to be testing fire hydrants on the 28th. Hydrant flushing. It's going to take place April 28th. It's going to be lasting 2 weeks, just so that the residents understand that.
That's important information, because your water pressure could be a little lower, or it could be a little brown, and then people don't hear us talking and they call.
And that's my report for now.
Okay, thank you. One thing I forgot to mention in my report, and I know it'll be talked about in open space, I know residents have called me about the docks that are not being put in yet. Unfortunately, our docks had some issues. They were old, and we could not reuse them again. Open Space had a meeting, and they kind of can only pay for half the cost of those. So they did approve the half of the cost. The town will pick up the other cost as soon as we get them ordered. We hope to have them up and running in the next month and put in. I know they are important in town, and a lot of people use them. You just got to give us a little time. Hopefully, we'll have them up in a month. Councilwoman Kent.
Thank you, Mayor. I want to thank the Shade Tree Commission, and I want to thank all of the contestants that submitted their poetry on their special tree that they had, and there were quite a few entries, correct, Ann? And we had I didn't read them, but the commissioners read them, and they selected them, and they were all excellent, but there was just those two that were just a little bit ahead, and it was very nice to have them. The young lady here, Juliana, have her here, and the parents here. Just so you know, our Shade Tree Commission, the commissioners don't look for adulation. You know, they do the job. They put their nose to the ground. They get the job done. And going to those meetings once a month, which I did this month, of course, they work very hard. They pretty much know every tree in this town that's on the right of way, and they'll know if the condition of the tree. It's very important to our homeowners, because some trees are old, and they have disease or deficiencies, and they need to be pruned. There's always a way of reaching us, and if anybody has any question on that, we do have a phone number. It's and our crew are out there, and they are very well educated on that. So I'm very proud to be a liaison. That came up in 2006 when we started this whole thing. We actually put people on. I was a council member here, and it was a long time coming, but I'm very proud to say we're 17 years now with the Tree City USA. We do an amazing job, so thank you very much, and very good, and thank you. We're also going to have a contest on the most beautiful Pompton tree, and that information will be coming out in another week. One of the girls that's working on that with me got engaged, so we've been a little bit busy, but that'll be out there, and we're going to be looking at people to select beautiful trees or a special tree that they think is very pretty that's on the public right of way, and then we're going to have a little contest on that. So that'll be coming out. I also attended the open space meeting, Mayor, and yes, so the open space committee decided that they were going to do a 5-year program, because there's a lot of different programs, a lot of different parks that need different attention, and it's a lot of money. It's that we're trying to budget and trying to allocate that money in a certain way. So one of the things that we were going to do 5 years ago came up now, and that is to replace that dock, because it was so warped and rotted that it's not safe. So they are only allowed to put 50% capital improvement, because it was not a purchase of open space lands way back when we were doing that. So that is a 50% contribution. So we put a 5-year program up to today, and they were absolutely fine with that, and that was unanimous vote. So we're looking forward to that. To follow up on that, we had a fishing tournament in April, and one of the things that we are looking for is to, try to maintain our parks and our recreation areas. And about 2 years ago, we passed an ordinance, ordinance 2323, that makes people who is going to have any kind of fishing tournament or use of the parks, either town residents or out-of-town residents, they have to apply for a permit. It came to our attention at the open space meeting that there was a Big Bass Association, and they're very good people, very do a nice job of cleaning up and after, but they did not get a permit. Now, the money that we collect for that permit is going to go to maintenance of our docks. And since we didn't have one, I was very concerned because the dock that is there now is not really one to tie up a boat. It doesn't have the proper cleats. It's not meant for that. It's really meant just for, just standing and looking out and sitting and that type of thing. So anyway, Mayor, the police chief was notified, and then the Big Bass Association was notified that they are either going to have to come back, get another permit, or pay the fee. And they are also advertised that there's going to be a July bass tournament. And I can assure you, they're going to have a permit for that, or they won't be able to use our dock. Now, luckily, we'll have a fishing dock with cleats that they could use, or anyone can use, but you have to get a permit from this town. They did. Okay, so that's what has to happen. So I'm happy to hear that, and I thank the police chief for following up with that, which he did. But just so everybody knows, we're looking, you have to, every other town, every other park in New Jersey who has a launch for boats collects a launch fee, and we are no different anymore. So if you see that, you let us know, and we're going to have the police out there. So I want to thank everyone for cooperating with that, and thank you, Liz, for handling that permit issue. Yes, just on the boathouse. So for, I want to say a number of years, maybe 2 years, we were talking about the boathouse and the improvements. One of the things that the Recreation Commission was looking to do was using, when they redid the boathouse, to make it a little bit bigger, to put indoor steps, to put a second floor or a mezzanine. Unfortunately, that can't happen because we are in a floodway and it is flood prone, and to do any structural changes to that boathouse over a certain amount of money of its value is going to just be, it's going to be outside our cost availability. We just won't be able to afford it. So we're just going to improve the boathouse in its looks and its appearance. We're going to make 2 bathrooms that are ADA accessible, and it's going to be a very nice change to it. We're going to get rid of the porta-john that's there. And yes, there was an issue about being involved in a meeting, but unfortunately, we can't all make meetings sometimes. And Michael, I want to thank you for letting me know that we extend the meetings to anybody that you can make it, but sometimes, which is a schedule issue.
And I spoke to Karen, she's fine with it.
She's okay, yeah, because she was a little upset at that. But, because this is her program. The summer program is very important. It's important to the town. We have like 200 kids that go there, so it's important that we have that. But we've made concessions. We're going to give her a trailer.
If she need be.
If we, and she'll need it. And it'll be new, because right now it's broken and it leaks. So I think we've made the proper concessions that we needed to make in order to make the summer recreation program work, and also to make the boathouse a more functional facility, because the bathroom facilities are horrendous. They've been horrendous for years, and I'm glad that's going to be changed. So, and it's all done with open space funds that are already been approved, so it won't cost the borough any additional monies, because it's all done through grants. Win-win for everybody. Just wanted to put that out there. Last night I attended the Flood Advisory Board, the Rain Garden Workshop. It's a very informative workshop, and it has to do with water storage on your property, and you use gardens, and you use rocks and drainage and special soils. And I want to thank the chairwoman, Lauren Venon, and the vice chairman, Steve Floman. They did a lot of work with that. They gave out really nice handouts, and everybody was very happy to be a part of that.
On Channel 7 today, they were just presenting how people in New Jersey are using these gardens now to fight flooding. So it was a whole big story on it.
Yes, yeah, because you know what, all that rainwater coming off of your roof goes into your roads. You're flooding the roads, constantly flooding the roads. I have a rain garden. I didn't know it was called that 20 years ago, but then I was a little bit ahead of the time. So anyway, but that's okay. But, yeah, so this is, it's, I want to say up and coming, it's been around a little while, but they've really done a really nice job to present you either with a shade garden or a sun garden, and whatever works better for your property. So it's kind of site-specific, and if you have any questions, the flood board is the place to reach, and I want to thank them for that. Nice job. Your wife, yes, very nice. Okay. The other thing that I've been working on, and I'm happy to say that it is almost done, is the entranceway to the Borough Hall. The police display case was ordered. We worked a little bit of money out of the PBA, and so they're going to pay for a portion of that, and then the rest of it will come out of the budget that we have for the police. And that project the display case should be in next month. They'll be able to display whatever beautiful trophies that they have, and that'll be theirs to use. And then we'll have a nice, really have a nice entrance to the town. And this past week, the Hirschfield Park Playground is being installed with the installers that are DPW. I think did the mulch, but the installation is actually being done by the vendor, and that's because they have to take that responsibility on for putting that thing correctly together. God forbid something happens, they're responsible for how that whole thing stays together. I think it's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait to see it, and looking very forward to that. The DPW is going around to all the different playgrounds and putting in mulch underneath all the swing sets, so it's a lot safer for the kids. They have to do that. I just wanted to say to you, Mayor, that I do agree with you. I think it's important that every council person who attends whatever event they have, and county committee, and their council reports are reported. So if we have, a couple people that went to the same thing, and sometimes Lisa and I go, sometimes Zach and I, we have the same thing. It's good. She has a different perspective sometimes. Sometimes I miss something, and we do that. That's our job. That's our job, and I'm happy to report that. And I don't think it's a waste of time. And I think people say we're not transparent. Yes, we are. So it's my opinion. All right, I want to thank you.
That's your report.
That's my report.
Thank you. First of all, congratulations to our councilwoman on being a grandma for the first time.
Oh,
So
thank
congratulations
you.
to her.
Thank you.
And now you get to give a report as a grandma.
So sweet. I am very excited about that. I just want everyone to know. I can't wait to get my hands on them. I attended this month's EPC meeting, and this will be the 22nd annual river cleanup. It's going to be held on Sunday, May 4th from 9:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. So please come out and help keep your community clean. The Easter egg hunt was a huge success. There were approximately 350 kids in attendance and lots of candy. I'd like to thank the fire department, the police department, the first aid squad. I'd also like to thank all the volunteers, including Nora and Ada, for stuffing 500 Easter eggs that were put out. Last but not least, an extra special thank you to the Easter Bunny himself. The Pompton Lakes Explorers had a bingo night at the Pompton Lakes Elks. Fun was had by all. I attended a planning board meeting. Last night's recreation meeting was canceled, but they had interviews instead for camp counselors. There is one more interview session for May 1st from 6:30 to 8 in the Lincoln School Teachers Room. Get Fit classes are on Monday and Wednesday nights from 7 to 8 p.m. It's $40 for 10 classes or a $5 drop-in fee. Pickleball is Saturdays at Lincoln School from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., April 26th through May 17th. It's $40 for the entire session or $15 drop-in fee. Shred It Day is May 3rd from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. or until the truck is full. Bid bucks are being sold Saturday, May 10th from 10:30 to 1 p.m. in the Pompton Lakes parking lot. Summer camp is June 30th through August 1st at Hirschfield Park from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. The deadline to register is June 14th. And today, Council President Polidori, Councilman Hinton, and myself went to both grammar schools to teach them about Arbor Day and hand out tree saplings. I'd like to thank both principals and all the teachers, and I loved hearing the kids name their trees. And we were pretty sad that for the first year, there was no John Cena. That only means we're getting old. And I just want to thank the police department and the fire department, the OEM, the CERT, and everyone for all they did for the missing child. And I want to say that I have a friend who works in a department that's actually in Essex County, and reached out to me and said what an amazing department we have. She helped, I guess, with
Search and rescue.
yeah, search and rescue, and she said that she actually specifically named one of our officers, Dana Wick, and she said she is an asset to our department. So I did email the chief and let him know that, and I just want to tell everyone else.
That's good to hear.
And that's my report.
Thank you. Just to follow up on this year, if you're signing up your child for camp, there will be no late registration. So either you get your child in on time, or she doesn't, or he doesn't go to camp. We're going to try that. This is the first time we're doing that, so we'll see how that goes. Councilman, good luck. Councilman Bennett.
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to echo my peers' thanks to our first responders as well as the CERT team for their work over the weekend. I also want to congratulate the Arbor Day winners. Thanks to all the contestants for submitting the letters. Gianna did a fantastic job speaking in front of all these folks. I remember when because she went to school with my kids. So to see her grow up and do this is amazing. Thank you to all involved in getting the budget put together. This is the closest I've been to, I've been involved in the past, but this is the closest I've been to having input and direction. And there were a lot of number crunching and a lot of tough decisions need to be made, but we were able to put together something pretty good and keep our tax rate low. Thanks to our rec commission, as Councilwoman Kielberg mentioned, the Easter egg hunt was attended by a lot of kids, despite the date change because of the rain. And that's my report, actually.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Cruz.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a brief report. Excuse me for a second. I attended the Board of Adjustments meeting last night, a very short meeting. I had one application, BOA 25-06. The applicant came before the board to obtain a use variance for a tenant, Monette MCF Mechanical, for a new plumbing business, as well as a plumbing shop. The variance was explained by the planner there, providing guidance to the board, and it was approved shortly after. The only other thing that I have to say is the Board of Education is going to be having the final vote on their budget on May 6th. That's a conference meeting. They're going to be sharing as much as possible on social media. They do not have a very big presence. So I recommend, if you're curious as to why the tax rate is going to be at 3.5, if that's going to be the agreed upon number, I suggest you attend the meeting so you can hear the reasons behind that and not wait after the fact. Yes, you can't talk.
It's at 7,
Huh?
at 7 p.m. 7 p.m.
Oh, they moved it up?
Starting early, 7 p.m. at the high school.
Okay. Is it at the media center?
Media center. At the high
Okay,
school.
so, yeah, so you started, obviously it's gonna be, starting at 7, at the media center to accommodate a larger crowd if one does show up. Please attend, do not wait till after the fact to voice your concerns or complain that you did not know. This is the opportunity for you to find out the reasons why, they have to increase the rate for this year and possibly next. That'll do for my report.
And just to follow up that, and that's good information, Councilman Cruz, I just want to remind the public at home, the school budget is responsible for the biggest part of your tax dollars, almost 60% is through the school. We're about 21%, and the county's about 19%. So when you look at all those numbers, just you got to understand where they're coming. We have an excellent school system. We have an excellent programs run there. I would put it against any in the area, but a cost is involved with that when it comes. So I agree. If you're interested in how your money's spent, you should go to those meetings. Okay, professional report.
Nothing this evening, Mayor.
Minister's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Please be advised that the Dawes Highway Improvements Project, which consists of the resurfacing of Dawes Highway from Riverdale Boulevard to River Edge Drive, the schedule has been amended and will begin on or about Tuesday, May 27th. The first 3 weeks will consist of stormwater, drainage, and concrete work, and the milling and paving will occur during the month of June. So again, the schedule has been amended. We have posted on the borough website and on social media.
Is there any signs up? I'm getting calls from residents who see them marking out all the utilities. Is there a sign up somewhere on Dawes Highway that
Yeah,
says?
we're getting out the message board
Okay,
tomorrow.
good. That's good.
It's already out.
Okay.
Maple Ave section.
Thank you. Please note that I'm working with Tilcon on a potential donation and/or discounted pricing. We're looking to replace the Hirschfield Park basketball court. If you recall, we had some grant funding from the former Pompton Lakes PAL program that was initially going to be used for a crack seal of the court, but I'm trying to see if we can replace it at that cost with Tilcon. So that's forthcoming this year. Today I had a walkthrough on Albany and Watervillette Ave with our borough engineer. We're preparing the final design and bid specs for the project, which is funded by a DOT grant. We're hoping to go out to bid this summer and resurface this fall. Again, I'm working with the engineer on this year's municipal aid applications. We're looking at phase 2 for Albany Ave, which would be from Riverview Road to Arcadia Road. So we'll be looking to submit that. And then we're also looking at a new grant program, which is called the DOT Local Transportation Projects Fund, which we've never taken advantage of in the past. So we're going to be looking to fund phase 2 of Lakeside Avenue, which would be from Van Avenue to Wanacue Ave. That project cost was very high, so this type of pool of money is for special projects at the discretion of the commissioner of the DOT, and we feel it's a heavily trafficked area, so we're going to see if we can get some funding for that from the commissioner's office. In addition, on tonight's agenda was our congressionally directed spending applications to Congresswoman Nellie Poe, who is our new representative for the area, for the replacement of the DPW garage and for phase 2 of the library project. Just note that to date, we've submitted grant applications for both projects to Senator Booker, Senator Kim, Congresswoman Poe, and a state budget appropriation request to Senator Panaccio's office. So we've submitted 8 grant requests for these projects, and it's now in the hands of our legislators. We've done everything we could have done. So we're expecting feedback in the summer on those, hopefully. Also, I did a walkthrough on the former A1 Auto Body shop site behind Max. We're in the process of installing a split rail fence because people are parking on our parcel that used to have the building on it, and we'd like to keep people away from parking on our parcel. They're using it for business purposes, and really, you know, if we own the parcel, we're looking to make it a park at some point, and we don't want to incur any further leakage or damage to the property, so we're looking to put a fence there in the near future. Temporary fence. Once we formalize what we want to do there, obviously it'll be taken out. So that's forthcoming. And then lastly, I just wanted to thank the DPW for the playground, and we did refurbish all the benches at the tennis courts, so we just want to thank them for all their hard work. Thank you.
Okay, just to follow up on what you said, we did reach out to most of our representatives in the state and federal level. I also called the governor himself personally to ask for money for the appropriations for the DPW. He did not say no to me directly, so I'm hoping that the governor can come up with some money for our DPW building also. You know, we're all in this together. It's a very expensive cost. Any money we can get from any department is greatly appreciated and will go towards what we need to do there. I'm glad to hear about the park and putting up the fence, because with all the fishing going on, I think that's who was parking a lot down there. There's a lot of people parking right over our new area there. Any questions about the administrator's report?
No, nothing on the report.
You got a question?
No, I just said something I had forgotten, that we were out this morning for Arbor Day celebration at the schools, and I want to thank Councilwoman Polidori for spearheading that the last 10, 12 years. Kids were great, third graders, so many interesting questions they have about trees and planting trees, and the names were kind of comical. Also, I had met with the police chief for about an hour, and I had brought up an issue of electric bikes in town. I was coming down Willard, coming to the meeting one night, and there was two gentlemen on an electric bike right in the middle of the road. They had to be doing 40 miles an hour, no helmets. I've seen electric bikes on sidewalks, and the chief had said, I think he was working with our borough administrator on some kind of ordinance to control it.
There's a speed limit, I think it's 30 or 35, I'm not sure which one it is. Whatever that is, if you're under that speed limit, you're considered a bicycle. If you're over that speed limit, you're considered a motorized vehicle. So if you're under that...
The speed limit is 25.
It doesn't matter what the speed limit is, you're not getting tickets for a bicyclist either who's driving too fast. The helmets, the sidewalks, the streets, all that, if you're under that speed limit. If you're over that speed limit, then you are a motorized vehicle, and they can ticket for a lot of things. I think that's the ordinance they're working on now, but Michael, maybe you want to talk more about that.
We have a draft ordinance. We'll present it to the ordinance committee this year, over the summer maybe, and look at that.
I mean, how are other towns addressing this problem? Because I do agree, I've seen it.
Oh, they're all over, yes, yeah.
It's hard.
At this point, it can't take for a child to get injured, for us to do something.
Unfortunately, it's a state ordinance about the speed, and we can't change
Well,
that.
what about speed? What about reckless riding? I mean, to be honest with you, they're not riding from what I've seen, they're riding it recklessly on the sidewalk. So it's not necessarily so much about the speed, which is an issue, but clearly they're not going to be doing 30 on the sidewalk. So we're not going to get them off that. So we have to basically look and see if they're riding recklessly, and they are, because I've seen it enough times. And, it's a small town. Our main area it's right next to the high school, and the kids are constantly walking. So, I mean, I don't mind the ordinance when it does come and we have to read, but if it has no meat to it, we're not going to achieve anything.
All right, so we can talk about that at the
It
ordinance.
is an issue because they're not only adults, they're children going 30 miles an hour on a bicycle, a scooter. They're not obeying any of the street signs. I almost hit a child. Thank God I was going like 15 miles an hour. He came right through a stop sign, right in front of my car. I mean, unfortunately, though, there are no laws against they have to create a law against motorized bicycles and scooters. There is no law.
There's no guidance right now.
There's no law. So really, the state needs to come out with a law.
It's like a bicycle, basically, right, at this point.
It's something we really have to address.
Yeah, but that would have to,
Another issue I had brought up to Michael, the big pile of stone down Joe Grill Field. I want to thank Michael. I brought it up one day, and 2 days later, it was all gone.
Good.
So I just want
Who
to
was
appreciate
responsible
that.
for putting that there?
Excuse me?
Who was the responsible party for putting the rocks and the lumber, right? There was also...
I do not know. I did not ask that question. I just brought up the issue, and Michael took care of it.
Yeah. Did you find out who was it, Michael?
It was part of our ongoing river restoration work, and I think there was a miscommunication between the DPW maybe, but it's since been removed, and we're not looking to sustain any further issues with this matter.
But they've been made aware you can't do that.
Yeah. Well, I would hope so.
Of course.
And I want to thank Michael for taking care of that as fast as he did. One other last issue.
You're a busy man today.
Excuse me?
You're a busy man today.
It's been a crazy day today. One other issue, when I went to pick up the fish at the Elks, a couple of residents had brought up an issue with the St. Mary's Food Pantry and the situation with parking tickets given to volunteers and to recipients of the food pantry.
Who's taking care of that?
Now, I've had a nice discussion with Councilman Cruz about it, and I understand his viewpoint wholeheartedly. And I went over to St. Mary's today, and I talked to the gentleman, and he said that between the mayor and Mrs. Sonny, you guys have been great about that. But there still is an issue with the recipients. Now, these are people that are going to a food pantry for food. There's a reason why they're going there, because they need the food. They're only there 4 days a month. I have the schedule right here. He gave me a copy of it. A lot of these recipients don't speak English. A lot of them don't have a credit card to use the service in the pond hole for parking. So this is another issue that, and he said quite a few times, the mayor has been great with this issue, and Mrs. Sonny's been great with this issue for the volunteers, but we still have an issue with the recipients.
Yeah, unfortunately, the only thing I can tell them if they don't have a credit card is they'd have to park at the meters and walk, because that'll take change, you can use change there.
Right.
We can't identify spots for drop-off or pickup, because then other businesses would say, I get a haircut, I would like that identified as someone running in to get a haircut, I get this, I get that. The other thing I suggested to the church was their driveway, instead of parking their truck there, leave that open, and somebody could park there temporarily, 5 minutes, go get what they need, and come out. And he did say that's something they would look at doing also.
All right. Well, like I say, I'll reiterate it again. He said, you've been great, and Mrs. Sonny's been great.
So we're trying to help. They're town organizations. We don't want to cause any issues.
Right.
And I hear what you're saying. These are people looking for help, so we don't want to punish them more.
Yeah.
But we got to work within the realm of what we got.
If they're coming to a food pantry for food, we don't need to be giving them parking tickets.
Yes, I agree.
Maybe a temporary parking pass that can hand.
We've discussed that. It just won't work. It's very difficult to.
There was a placard or something that they were using.
But we had to get away from those because other businesses were asking for the placards.
That was the reason.
That was the problem.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Any other questions for the administration? Nope. Okay. Motion to open the meeting for public comment.
Motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman Cruz, all in favor? Aye. Against? Anyone from the public like to address? Please step up.
Paul Bowlby, 120 Romaine Ave. I love the idea of shared services. The only thing that concerns me is you're locking us into a 5-year agreement with the town of Oakland. I mean, everything looks great now. If something goes south and it starts to be not such a great idea, and the money doesn't play out the way we're expecting it, 5 years is an awful long time. Just my 2 cents worth.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to address?
Ann Tassinelli, 5 Lambert Street. So with the answer that you gave about, you're going to the police department, you're letting them know, you don't know whether they're doing anything, should I go over to them? Or Lisa, you're the liaison,
I've been over there and I've spoken to them twice.
Okay.
So
I just have to keep my eyes open and see. Because you mentioned the turnaround, that's only part of it.
No, I know.
They don't kill people. Those turnarounds, they might cause a problem, but they're not killing people, but the speed, it's the speed. Everybody does not adhere to anywhere near a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit in town, anywhere.
And there's a lot of people walking.
So I just wanted to make that clear. If I should
go over it, yes, I'll answer you.
to them as well and tell them I'm making my...
I'll answer you later, but okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to address? Seeing no one, can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion.
Second.
Councilman, who is that? Cruz? Councilman Hinton, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Mr. Bowlby, thank you. I think we have looked into that, and our accelerators are trying to keep up with anything that would change. But, I think this is a work in progress, too. I don't think Oakland would be fighting us on anything if we had some other craziness happen in year 4, because it's an advantage to them, and it's also an advantage to us. Ms. Tassinelli, I agree with you 100%. I'm more concerned, especially when the kids are out for lunch, that they're just walking blindly in the streets and there's people flying down the street. So I agree with you 100%. It's tight to begin with, the cars on both sides of the street, and then it makes the lanes even tighter when you're driving on them. They do have to enforce them. We'll keep pressuring them, but you are more than welcome when you're past, the chief, or you see him in interaction, say, hey, look, I'm one of the guys that's worried about it, and let him know. That's okay. You can send him an email. He'll welcome that. Okay. A motion to adjourn privilege of the floor. Anybody have privilege of the floor?
I just have one comment. I just want to give a call out for a good job to Stephen Begg. He's back over there. Stephen is our chairman of the Environmental Protection Committee. He's been doing a great job with running the river cleanup for 3 years now. But he also, the other day, had a group of high school kids over at the town's municipal utility authority, and they were doing a tour of the wastewater and the potable water treatment system. And this is a great way to get our high school kids involved in environmental issues, looking at colleges. A lot of kids are going into the environmental field, and that was a really smart thing to do for Earth Day, and I just wanted to make a shout out. I thought that was a great way to handle that. Earth Day, and I'll just say real quick, we were talking about this with the plumes, and I was thinking back, 45 years ago, I was a young environmental person with the state of New Jersey, I know, and I was at one of the worst chemical fires in the state of New Jersey at the chemical control. And when I mentioned that, because I was on the Marine Police boat, we had to do sampling, we shut down Manhattan because of the terrible plume and the chemicals that were in the, that are in the aftermath of that fire. There was all kind of stuff, all kind of really bad things. But I was thinking about it, how kids today don't even know what I'm talking about when they talk about, chemical control. So I want to thank you for keeping the kids involved with recent, with things that are going on and littering, and we're doing some really good programs, and Steve's done a really good job with that program, and I just wanted to shout out on him. Nice job. And that's my...
I just wanted to mention, we lost two longtime residents in town, Tom Woods, he's an older gentleman, but he was very involved in town in many different organizations and Knights of Columbus, so we're sad to see him go. And then Jim Curran, who died relatively young. He was a good gentleman. He was very involved in soccer, and anytime you needed help, he was there to help. So our blessings go out to both of those families. Any other protocol? Nope. Okay. Do we have closed session?
Quick.
Okay. Motion to go into closed session.
Motion.
Councilman
Second.
Bennett, Councilman Kilbert, Councilwoman Kilbert, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you, everybody.
We gotta go into closed session.
How about that? Okay. Just screw that up, Kevin.
In closed session, we discussed negotiation. Motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Councilman Bennett, Councilman Cruz, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Yeah.